Hey there, it's Norcoids once again. It's been a little while since I've actually made a video like this, and it's a product review, and that's been a little while too. Anyway, well, let's see here. What was the last thing I reviewed? It was quite some time ago. It was like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. And the thing that I reviewed, and I've done some purchases since then, but I never got around to doing product reviews on YouTube. I know they're a dime a dozen, and yeah, made a few purchases since then. Least of all, well, actually, I should maybe show you. You remember, of course, my microphone reviews, like the B1 Behringer, the T47, which was my brother's, the C1, and also the little mixer that I did. Well, you probably remember this thing here. That's right, my purple TL01 from Equinox Musical Instruments. Well, there we go. The TL01, inspired by a Telecaster. Great guitar. The only modification I've done on it, actually, is the pickguard. It went from a plain white to a pearloid. I can't see very well because, there we go, see? Other than that, no change on it at all. Been through quite a few string changes, actually, of course. I used to have Fender Bullets on there, and I thought they were good until I discovered Ernie Balls. And then I thought Ernie Balls were good, and then I discovered Diodaros for Diodaro nickel wounds. And I thought, perfect on this guitar, it sounds great. The dirty little secret about guitars like this, whether they're Equinox, especially if you decide just to go for the bargain basic pickups or hardware, is that it's all OEM. You know, that's something that you find on practically every budget line guitar, whether it's tuners, whether it's pickups, whether it's bridge pieces, whether it's knobs or control plates or what have you. Capacitors that are inside for tone controls. It's all OEM, and the thing about it is that it's actually pretty good stuff. The tuners that I have on this thing, they're basically based on Godos. You know, they're, if I look at the back, see, they look a lot like Godos, except they're no name. I'm sure that if you go online, and you look on eBay, or you go to other sites like Amazon and all that, or you go to All Parts, you're going to find a lot of stuff is basically OEM, and it's usually built in places like Korea, or more likely Taiwan. Makes a lot, and the quality is good. The quality is almost as good as you'll find on name brand stuff. You know, I mean, unless you get locking tuners or whatnot. Another acquisition that I made, and I'm going to make a review of it someday, is this thing. A Squire vintage modified 70s jazz bass. Oh, sorry about the shadow. This is probably one of my favorite instruments. It's an all maple body. This is the 2003 version. It has what they call Fender designed pickups. They're actually quite powerful. I've got GHS precision flat wounds on there, and it sounds great. I'll do a review on that some other day. I've only figured out how to synchronize this camera and use audio from my computer to get a direct inside. And I did it earlier on my latest acquisition, this thing. This is an S101 Stratocaster. Now, you'll never guess how much I paid for this, or maybe you will. You can go look on eBay and you'll find it. Left-handed S101s. He's practically the only one that sells them right now. It's Barry Clark Music, and he's selling these for $80 US. Let me tell you something. Straight out of the box, and apparently he sets these up, so straight out of the box, this thing plays great. And it uses OEM parts just like the Telecaster. However, the thing that I find lacking on this particular guitar, is the pickups. They're a bit weak, and the tremolo. Now, like I mentioned, you know, this kind of stuff, the tuners, the nut, the pickups, the knobs, the electronics inside, the tremolo system, you know, all of that, the dirty little secret is that it's all of these guitar manufacturers that make these inexpensive guitars, whether it's Squire or whether it's Epiphone or even, you know, even Ibanez, they're Chinese-made guitars and whatnot. They all get the same parts. They all use the same parts that you'll find online. And a lot of times, they're perfectly fine. What really differentiates these companies is just the way that they finish their guitars, the way they put them together. And, I mean, in some factories like Equinox, for example, you have the option of having upgrades in electronics and pickups and tremolos and whatnot, and you can get a guitar that's just as good as anything that can cost up to $1,000, $1,500. Me, I decided to go the cheap route because I'm a cheap guy, and you know, I'm not somebody who gigs, who's going to go to bars with these instruments and do gigs. You know, I'm using it to learn on them and to record. And as you'll see in the demo that's coming right up, you'll see I've got a lot to learn. Okay. So here we are with the guitar. Hasn't been modified yet. Still the stock pickups. Selectors on. Both volume and all the tones are wide open. I'm recording it directly into my computer, and I'm using Amplitude as an amplifier. And I'm using a 65 twin reverb. Volume is at 3. Treble, middle, and bass are at 5, so it's smack dab in the middle. There's just a little smidgen of reverb because it sounds a little bit, but it's not too overpowering. It shouldn't affect too much the natural tone of this guitar. And I'm going to go through the different pickups so you can have a good listen to what an S101 stock sounds like, the type that Barry Clark Music on eBay is selling. I guess it's a bit of a plug. I mean, it's a really good guitar right out of the box. I mean, these are OEM pickups. They're the same as you would find on the Squier Strat, Bullet, or even a Standard. It's only on the Standard where you start getting upgradable things that are better than this guitar, such as the tremolo especially. But as far as the tuners and as far as everything else on a guitar like this, it's pretty much a Squire Affinity you've got here. I mean, it's just a question of how it's put together, and this one's very well put together, and it sounds really good. So I have Ernie Ball slinkies on this, 10 to 46s. They're in a green package, and I've got it tuned to an open G with a D bass, just to make things easier and to make it more consistent. And here we go with the front pickup, or the neck pickup solo. Okay, now these two pickups here, neck and middle. For some reason, even though they're supposed to be out of phase and they're supposed to be a little weaker and sound more hollow, for some reason on this guitar, it actually sounds a little louder. So I'm thinking maybe they're not, maybe they're in series and not parallel. Who knows? But in any case, to my ears, it sounds pretty nice, especially when it's on a clean tone like that. Now for the middle pickup. Oh dear, I think I'm out of tune. No, actually I'm not. I think it's because... It's because I was pressing harder on the strings, that's why. Anyway, that's the middle pickup, and now for the middle and the bridge pickup, out of phase. Again, it sounds a little louder than just a solo pickup. Anyway, finally, bridge pickup. Sounds nice and stratty, I think. Okay, now it's getting out of tune. The strings are not totally broken in yet, but what the hey. So there you have it. This is a stock S101 by American Sejong, like I said earlier in the video. Hope you find this instructive. It's a good guitar. I mean, if it's a good stock guitar, good beginner, good guitar, I mean, if you can find them, they're usually pretty cheap. And they're worth it. They're cheaper than getting an Affinity, a Squire Affinity at the moment. So, hope this was instructive. Well, there you have it. What more there is needs to be said. You saw the demo. I saw the sounds. Now, I keep saying in the video that it sounds really good. And it does. I mean, it does. The guitar does have a sound, and it does sound a bit like a Strat, especially the bridge pickup. But the problem is, there's not a lot of output, and it's one of the reasons why the guitar doesn't sound very loud. And I decided, you know, not to. I decided not to put in distorted tones or anything like that, simply because there's no point to it. It was just amplify the noise and the buzz and the hum or what have you. So what I'm going to be doing to this guitar here is I'm going to be putting in a loaded pickguard, and I ordered it from Dragonfire or TNT Custom Guitars. The website has like 4 or 5 different names. I've heard mostly good things and some bad things about them. I'm supposed to be getting it tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to be sitting by waiting for Canada Post to deliver the goodies to me, and I'm going to drop her in there. It's supposed to drop right in because I've checked the dimensions of this S101 Strat. Apparently it's the same dimensions as a Mexican or a American Stratocaster. Not the same quality, but anyway. And also I'm going to be putting in a Wilkinson 2-point tremolo bridge instead of this El Cheapo 6 tremolo bridge that you would find, you know, on a Squire. You know, even the classic Vibe Squires, their tremolo is basically the same thing as this. And, I mean, it's not an absolute disaster. I mean, you could do a little bit of bending, but if you try to do a nosedive or a Jimi Hendrix type of whammy bar action, forget it. You know, your stuff's going to go out of tune. Me, I just want to put the Wilkinson in because it's going to be a bit more stable. And apparently well, actually, let me go get it. Because the block that's in the Strat right there, it's not very big. Let's see here. Here it is. There we go. That's the Wilkinson. It's left-handed, of course. It's supposed to go like this, actually. It's got little Wilkinsons on each saddle here. It's got a included block here, I think. The one that's in the one that's currently in the Strat right now is actually quite thin. It's not like this at all. It's about half the width when it comes down here. and they say that the more mass this has, the better the tone. So we'll see about that. Anyway, looking forward to it. I'm going to do all of it at the same time, and I'm also going to be putting on a different set of strings, because what I want to do is I want to turn this into a baritone. And so I've got D'Addario XL Chromes. I've got two versions. I've got the extra light gauge, which is closer in gauge to what's currently on there, which are some Ernie balls, which I'm not too fond of, and heavier gauge. And you know, I've seen a few YouTube videos where somebody tries to convert their regular scale 25.5-inch scale to a baritone, and they talk about intonation problems. Well, the way to get around that is to use bigger strings and to be able to tune lower. So I'm going to give that a whirl. Hopefully I'll have this all done sometime this week, and I'll be able to make a demo. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Just leave comments or questions below, and be gentle. I'm not a great guitar player by any stretch of the means. I'm still learning.